So today, let's talk about something that annoys me to no end. Loading 45 ammo, 45 ACP ammo. In someone's infinite wisdom, some manufacturers decided to go ahead and do small primer, 45, when everyone else in this world does large primer, 45. It's mostly Blazer, some Federal, and a couple of others that do small primer. But the problem is, you go collect brass, you buy a bag of brass, you buy a bunch of ammo, and then intend to reload those cases. It's sometimes hard to know what's small primer and what's large. And if you're like me, the first time you run across it, you wonder what the hell's going on because your primers aren't seating, and then figure it out. Anyway, what I've been doing over the past couple of years is cleaning all my brass, throwing all my 45 into just an ammo can. I don't bother to sort it, so I've just got a bunch of it here. Some of it's small primer, some of it's large primer. I don't bother to sort it. I go ahead and I do a run with large primer, and anything that the primer doesn't seat in, I go ahead and throw it into another bin for small primer, and that's how I do my sorting. So that's just basically the way I've been doing it. What ends up happening, if you just watch this, you got to pay attention to your primer seating. Don't be strong like gorilla and try and shove a primer in, a large primer into a small primer pocket. But basically what we do, this first one that I'll run through here, this is a large primer one. Go ahead and feed it in, just like you normally would. Feed in, this one is a small primer, but just for pretend I wouldn't know about it. Go ahead and seat your primer. This is going to go in easy on my large primer, so that's seated. No problem. Again, it's exactly what you would expect. Next one, I have no idea what this is. I'm just going to start grabbing blind. So this one right here is still small primer. I go through my resize D-prime, and my large primer is having powder dropped into it, okay? So now, remember, this is my small primer one. It's at the primer seating station. So normally, I just throw another piece of brass in and press forward. Okay, this doesn't want to go in. If I go ahead and slam on it, I'm going to destroy that primer and probably set it off, who knows, but I'm not going to do that. You just have to be gentle with it, take a look. It doesn't want to go in, so I go ahead and I use my double check. This is a primer pocket cleaning tool. This is actually the large size. So all I do, just check it, and if this does not go in, small primer goes in my small primer tray. Back over here, just grab the next piece of brass. Get ready to go. Again, you guys know the stages of this press. Right now I'm on a powder check on that first brass. I don't have anything on the next one because that was a small primer. Go ahead and put in a new piece of brass. This one must be small because it doesn't want to seat. So let's check what's going on. Yep, small. Goes in there. Next stage, drop my bullet in. So this is the bullet seating die. Next one's going to be the crimp die. You guys know these stages. Put in the next piece of brass. This one's seated pretty easily. Okay? Take a look. Super easy. So if you take your time, you can just go ahead and load all of your mixed brass, starting with the large primers. Go ahead and do that. It's really difficult. I mean, I'm sure someone can figure out a way to do it, but you're not going to realistically shove a large primer in a small primer pocket. Your press is going to jam up to the extent that the primer won't seat. You'll notice it because you should be paying attention. You can go ahead and pull that case out. Always double check it. There's a couple of ways, but I always this is quick and easy. Just the cleaning tool for the primer pocket. And I always check with a large. It's basically a no-go gauge. If it won't go in, it must be a small primer, and it goes in my small primer bin. So once I'm done loading up my ammo can worth of 45 large primer, then I'll go ahead and everything that's in the small, I'll go ahead and do a batch of small primers. But for now, I just plow through and get all my large primer taken care of. Anyway, Hope someone can get some use out of that. I know it was frustrating for me. I just can't. I don't know why people bother to change these to small primer. I know it saves fractions of a cent. I don't really care about that. I would have rather paid another $1 a box or whatever the hell it was and not had this mix and match of primers, but it is what it is. It's just one way that I've felt with dealing with it. So hopefully you got a little bit of use out of that. Take care. We'll do this again another day.